Hello, and today I'm here to talk to you about my brief for a science fiction film, give some ideas, and stuff like that. So, the brief is to create a family-friendly science fiction film aimed, but it can be any subgenre as long as it fits the codes and conventions of sci-fi. And it has to be a short film, so, and, yeah, so, the purpose of my film is going to be to entertain the audience and get them invested in the world, but because of the genre of sci-fi, it's possible we could, have maybe discussions about societal issues such as, futuristic societal issues such as cloning, cyborgs, etc., etc., which are discussed in other sci-fi movies, like most notably the 1996 film adaptation of Ghost in the Shell. As I mentioned, it's gonna be a short film in the genre of sci-fi, and so we're gonna need to meet the codes and conventions, such as futuristic technology, possibly some kind of scientific threat, stuff like that. I'd like for the subgenre to be cyberpunk, because I believe cyberpunk's very interesting. Our target audience is families with kids around the age of 12, as they're very into sci-fi right now, with films such as Guardians of the Galaxy and the new Star Wars movies doing really well at the box office. Our key message is possibly going to be about, futuristic issues, as I mentioned before, because I think this is an interesting idea that hasn't been as much explored as much as maybe I think it should. And when it has, it's always been more niche kind of movies, and I think it's very interesting. And also, hints of good versus evil, but maybe not as straightforward as many people would be used to, but as aforementioned, it must be a family movie, so that would be quite difficult to do. So my inspirations include, Ghost in the Shell, Star Wars, Godzilla, Cowboy Bebop. I'd like the film to take place on Earth, or a planet similar to Earth, anyway, as many great sci-fi films use this great effect, and it could also massively reduce the amount of, money and time and skill I have to put on so I can into creating the world, so I can, focus on other elements of the film. And also I think it could be very interesting to the film, like in the Godzilla movies, which take place in modern day. The new movie Shin Godzilla focuses a lot on the people's reaction to the giant monster threat, and I believe that's super interesting. I could also have it take place in a futuristic setting. However, I believe this would be less interesting, as I can't explore how people react to first discovering the sci-fi element of the film. And it would also require significantly more effort, which would probably be out of my current skill ability and that of my team. So some codes of the conventions of this genre include spaceships, alien planets, aliens, of course, robots, futuristic technology. If you get into subgenres, there's usually a big societal change because of the sci-fi elements. There's also quite commonly a conflict between an empire and a rebel faction, and the film should be distributed through video services, online streaming services such as YouTube, Dailymotion, Vimeo. So here's my mood board of inspirations, which include, Godzilla, Akira, which is possibly a bit too mature, Star Wars, of course, Fist of the North Star, Pacific Rim. So, 3 ideas I currently have include a post-apocalyptic movie with aliens, Another one is a cyborg threat coming out of almost nowhere, and an AI attempting to take control of humanity. The post-apocalyptic idea would be very difficult to create due to the fact we'd have to create sets and to give it the genuine vibe of a post-apocalyptia. It would also possibly be too mature. We'd have to use CGI as well, which my current editing skills are not good enough for that. The cyborg idea is much more realistic because many cyborgs look very human, and it's inspired by Ghost in the Shell as a feature. It focuses on the difference between humans and cyborgs, as well as the main villain in Ghost in the Shell hacks cyborgs and controls them, which is an idea that I would like to explore myself. However, instead of maybe having a sentient AI, hacking people could be, an evil empire. And finally, is an AI overtaking humanity, which is once again inspired by the main villain from Ghost in the Shell. However, instead of controlling people, because it would be set in modern day where cybernetic enhancements don't exist, it would take over important data and technology, which would obviously cause economies to completely crash, and it would promise to keep everyone sustained as long as they follow its requests. But of course, there would be an insurrection, an uprising. So, here is a little flowchart that I made, just to show sort of, not a flowchart, it's a mind map. That's where it is, a mind map. So, yeah, so here's my mind map. So, as you can see, I've marked the ones in green, which I believe are more possible, and the one in red, I don't believe we could realistically do. So, the two that I believe are more realistic are cyberpunk, but they take place in the modern day, and they have a much more realistic sci-fi element. Well, not realistic, but they don't require as much CG as, like, the AI threat would probably only be, like, it probably wouldn't require that much. Probably just be a video of someone edited onto a screen. Or, cyborgs, because, like I've previously mentioned, they look very human, and it's also feasible, but the alien invasion idea would use far too much CGI and prosthetics to be possible within our budget and skills. This is because of, obviously, the post-apocalypse and aliens, the world being destroyed would probably have to be seen, and that would require CGI far beyond my current capability, and post-apocalyptic environments would be very difficult to create, as I'd need to create destroyed buildings, rubble, etc. So the reason I'm choosing to show this on video sharing platforms such as YouTube, Dailymotion, etc. is they're very easy to distribute on and can provide with a large platform, especially YouTube, where it could possibly go viral if there's enough interest in it. Several other independent filmmakers found success on YouTube, such as Rocket Jump, most notably. So, yeah, as you can see here, I've just made some basic sketches. They're pretty bad, but yeah. No, so that is my pitch.